Since I have the knowledge of subduing dragons and taming tigers, he asked me specially to come arrest the fiend and rescue you back to the kingdom. It was I who defeated the vanguard, and it was I, too, who slew the little fiend. When I saw, however, how powerful the fiend was outside the gate, I changed myself into the form of going and coming in order to take the risk of contacting you here." On hearing what he said, the lady fell silent. Whereupon Pilgrim took out the treasure bracelets and presented them with both hands, saying, "If you don't believe me, take a good look at these objects." The moment she saw them, the lady began to weep, as she left her seat to bow to Pilgrim, saying, "Elder, if you could indeed rescue me and take me back to the kingdom, I would never forget your great favor." "Let me ask you," said Pilgrim, "what sort of a treasure that is that releases fire, smoke, and sand?" "It's no treasure," replied the lady. "They are actually 3 golden bells. When he gives the first bell one wave, he can release up to 3,000 feet of fire to burn people. When he waves the second one, he can release 3,000 feet of smoke to fumigate people. When he waves the third one, he can release 3,000 feet of yellow sand to confound people. The smoke and the fire are not even as potent as the yellow sand, which is most poisonous. If it gets into someone's nostrils, the person will die." "Formidable, formidable," said Pilgrim. "I had the experience, all right, and even I had to sneeze a couple of times. Where, I wonder, does he put these bells?" "You think he'd put them down?" said the lady. "He has them tied to his waist, and whether he is in or out of doors, whether he is up or lying down, they'll never leave his body. If you still have some feelings for the Scarlet Purple Kingdom," said Pilgrim, "if you want to see the king once more, you must banish for the moment all sorrow and melancholy. Put on your looks of pleasure and romance, and allow him to enjoy with you the sentiments of wedlock. Tell him to let you keep the bells for him. Then, when I have stolen them and brought this fiendish creature into submission, it will be simple to take you back to your dear mate, so that both of you can enjoy peace and harmony once more." The lady agreed. Our Pilgrim changed again into that trusted junior officer, and opened the palace door to summon the various maids. Then the lady called out, "Going and coming, go to the pavilion in front quickly and ask the great king to come here. I want to speak to him. Dear Pilgrim." He shouted his consent and dashed out to the skinning pavilion to say to the monster spirit, "Great king, Lady Sage Palace desires your company." Delighted, the fiend king said, "Normally our lady has nothing but abuse for me. How is it that she desires my company today?" "Our lady," replied Pilgrim, "asked me about the ruler of the Scarlet Purple Kingdom, and I told her, he doesn't want you anymore. He has chosen another queen from among his subjects." When Our Lady heard this, she had to stop thinking about him, and that was why she asked for you. Exceedingly pleased, the Fiend King said, "You are quite useful. When I have destroyed that kingdom, I'll appoint you a special court assistant." Thanking him casually for his promised favor, Pilgrim walked quickly with the Fiend King to the entrance of the rear palace, where the lady met them amiably and reached out with her hands to greet the monster. Backing off immediately and bowing, the Fiend King said, "I'm honored. I'm honored. Thank you for your love, but I'm afraid of the pain in my hands, and I dare not touch you. Please take a seat, great king," said the lady. "For I want to speak to you." "Please do so without hesitation," replied the Fiend King. The lady said, "It has been 3 years since you first bestowed your love on me. Though we have not been able to share a bed together, it is still our foreordained affinity that we should become husband and wife. I think, however, that you must have some sentiments against me, and you are not treating me truly as your spouse. For I can recall the time when I was queen at the Scarlet Purple Kingdom. Whenever the foreign nations presented their tributary treasures, the queen was asked to keep them after the king had inspected them. You have hardly any treasures here, of course. What you wear are furs, and what you eat are raw meats. I haven't seen any silks or damasks, any gold or pearls. All our coverings are only skins and furs. You may have some treasures, I suppose, but the distance you feel toward me prevents you from letting me see them or asking me to keep them for you. I have heard that you have some kind of bells or gongs, 3 of them, in fact, which, I suppose, must be treasures. Or else why would you keep them with you when you are walking or when you are seated? You should let me keep them for you, and when you need them, I can take them out. After all, we are husband and wife, and you should at least show me some trust. If you don't, you must feel that I'm still an outsider. Breaking into loud guffaws as he bowed to her, the Fiend King said, "Madam, your reprimands are just. Your reprimands are just. The treasures are right here. Today, I turn them over to you for safekeeping." He at once hitched up his clothes to take out the treasures. With unblinking eyes on one side, Pilgrim saw that after the fiend had hitched up 2 or 3 layers of clothing, he had tied to his body 3 small bells. These he took down and, having stuffed some cotton into the mouths of the bells, had them wrapped up in a piece of leopard skin before he handed them over to the lady. "Though these are lowly objects," he said, "you must guard them with care. Never shake or rattle them." Taking them over with her hands, the lady said, "I know. I'll put them right here on my dressing table. No one will shake them." Then the lady said, "Little ones, prepare us some wine. I want to drink a few cups with the great king to celebrate our happiness and love." On hearing this, the servant girls at once spread out a table full of vegetables and fruits and laden with venison and rabbit meat. After they poured out some coconut wine, the lady put on her most seductive charms to deceive the monster spirit. On the side, Pilgrim Sin also began his work. Slipping slowly up to the dresser, he gently picked up those 3 golden bells before he inched his way out of the palace. When he arrived at an empty spot before the skinning pavilion, he opened up the leopard skin wrap to look at the contents. The middle bell was about the size of a tea mug, while the 2 on both ends were as big as fists. Not knowing how formidable these objects were, he yanked out the cotton. All he heard was a loud clang, and then the flame, the smoke, and the yellow sand poured out from the bells. He tried desperately to stuff the cotton back into the bells, but to no avail. Instantly, flames leapt up and engulfed the pavilion. Those monsters and fiends were so terrified that they rushed into the rear palace to report to the Fiend King, who shouted, "Go put out the fire! Go put out the fire!" When he dashed out with the rest to the pavilion, he saw going and coming with the golden bells in his hands. "You wretched slave!" bellowed the Fiend King, rushing up to him. "How dare you steal my treasure bells and mess with them here? Seize him! Seize him!" Those tiger warriors, bear commanders, leopard captains, striped cat marshals, brown elephants, gray wolves, clever deer, sly hare, long serpents, huge pythons, and the chimpanzee all mobbed the pavilion. Terribly flustered, our pilgrim dropped the bells and changed back into his original form. Whipping out his golden-hooped compliant rod, he plunged into the crowd and fought furiously. After the Fiend King had put away his treasures, he shouted the order, "Shut the front door." On hearing this, some of the fiends went to shut the door while others surrounded Pilgrim to do battle. Suspecting that it would be difficult for him to flee, Pilgrim put away his rod and, with one shake of his body, changed himself into a tiny fly which alighted on one of the stone walls that was not burning. When the various fiends could not find him, they said, "Great King, the thief has escaped." "Did he walk out of the door?" asked the Fiend King. "The front door is firmly bolted," they replied. "He hasn't left that way." "Then search carefully," said the Fiend King. Some of the fiends put out the fire with water, while others conducted a careful search all around, but there was not a trace of the thief. "Who is the thief?" said the Fiend King angrily. "Who is so audacious that he dared change into the shape of going and coming, come in here to speak to me, and stay by my side until he found the chance to steal my treasures? It's a good thing that he didn't take the bells out of the cave. If he had taken them up to the summit and had exposed them to natural wind, I wouldn't know what to do. It's partly the profound luck of the great king," said the tiger general, approaching him. "And partly the fact that we are not yet destined to perish. That's why we were able to discover him in time." "Great king," said the bear commander. "This thief is not just any other person. He must be that Sun Wukong who has defeated our vanguard. He probably ran into going and coming on the way and took our officer's life. After he robbed him of his yellow banner, brass gong, and nameplate, he changed into his appearance to come here and deceive you." "Exactly. Exactly," said the Fiend King. "What you say is quite right. Little ones, continue the search and be careful that you do not let him slip out the door." So, that was how things stood. A clever move has turned to folly. A playful act becomes something real. We do not know how Pilgrim Sun managed to escape from the fiend's door. Let's listen to the explanation in the next chapter.